Iedereen vindt de Haarlemmerbuurt de ene keer hartstikke leuk en hip en trendy. In 1989 werd er een rapport gepubliceerd van nou, we geven heel de buurt op. En hooguit nog 2 supermarkten. En dan nog een zeeman. Hooguit, nou daar zouden we het allemaal mee moeten doen in die buurt. Zover was het eigenlijk al afgekleden.
Hey, goeiedag. Wat kan ik voor je doen? Kom je gezellig een glaasje port bij drinken?
Nou, ik heb
Oké, je weet dit is een beetje je naam, dus dat is altijd goed. Wil een glaasje mevrouw?
Meneer Ensink, mijn partner in crime, ben ik ooit jarenlang mee in de werkgroep gaan zitten. Om allerlei dingen te bedenken van hoe gaan we die straat een beetje op orde houden en krijgen en bedenken. Als je eigenlijk bedenkt, nou, je ziet een beetje terug op foto's hier. Van deze winkel, nou, die zit er eigenlijk wel voor lang.
1932 onder deze naam. En ik denk vanaf 1900 onder een andere naam. Je moet je voorstellen, de straat was toen net als de huidige Utrechtse straat, een tram op midden en 2 verkeersstromen aan weerszijden. Vroeger zaten er slagerijen, groentezaken, spekzaken. We hadden natuurlijk wel 5 of 6 slagerijen, 4 bakkers en 9 schoenenzaken. Maar dat zie je dus in het hele land dat het detailaanbod afneemt. Elk moment dat je dus ergens 100 vierkante meter supermarkt inzet, kan je er zeker van zijn dat er ergens anders 100 vierkante meter zijn. Zo werkt de markt. Maestro, wil je een glaasje port vandaag? Ja, wel? Oké, ik ga het voor je mee.
Het mensen zo gezellig, aardig, vriendelijk. En de product is the best.
Harry als eigenaar. En Harry zelf eigenlijk in een heel andere branche ooit is gestart. Maar naderhand door is ontwikkeld. Van hé, ik denk dat deze buurt wel een kinderwinkel zou kunnen gebruiken.
Deze winkel op deze locatie zit hier 9 jaar, bijna 10 jaar. Ja. Dat was toen 1998. En daarvoor zaten we op nummer 68. En nummer 68 hadden we gekraakt. In die tijd deden we nog. Dat was in 1989 was dat. En toen was het ook niet zo'n leuke buurt. Het was een aflopende zaak. Er stond helemaal vol met auto's, want je kon niet parkeren. Er was veel afbraakpanden, veel junks.
Als je deze hebt, geeft een beetje beeld. Dus dit is wel.
In die tijd was overal waren kraakpanden, coffeeshops, veel junks op straat. En toen, daarna is er iets in gang gezet waardoor het een leuke straat is geworden. Maar de Haarlemmerdijk trekt nu wel heel veel mensen vandaan.
Okay, it's going on, but we still stop.
Dat heeft zijn voordelen, maar zeker ook zijn nadelen.
It gives you an impression of the time. I'm the shop street manager, not a street manager, shop street manager. And I'm working in the Haarlemmerbuurt from 1987. And so that's a really, really long time. And on the slides you can see this is a situation from 1995, so it's not really so long ago. And the second one is I took the picture myself, so it was yesterday. Really sunny, really strange picture, and I'm just on the top of a car, so you can make pictures and make a really good slide of it. You can see that in the middle is renewal. So I'm starting in a period in Amsterdam where people no longer want to live in the inner circle in Amsterdam. They're really going out of the city. And I think it's not really the only thing for Amsterdam, it was everywhere. So, because a lot of houses and a lot of people with private owners, big families, and they had the housing was really bad in that time. So nobody knew what to do with the city. And I was only thinking about the big projects, the big city project, how to deal with the traffic and things like that. And you can have the satellite cities around Amsterdam. So a lot of people, everybody knows who's living a longer time in Amsterdam, the situation about the Jordaan or the Pijp. Were just crowded neighborhoods with a lot of people there, and a lot of bad housing there. So in the 80s, mid-80s, Amsterdam was starting with the urban renewal. I hope everybody knows what urban renewal is. So a month ago I was working with students and I told them, do you know the urban renewal? No, we never heard of it. I thought shocking. Yeah, it's really a time of changing a lot in the city. So a lot of the families who lived in the Jordaan and the Pijp and in the working class neighborhoods, they were going to Purmerend, Almere, Lelystad and all surrounding in Amsterdam because they could live there in a house with a garden and things like that. They had more space. So if you see the time now, everybody is going into the city because everything is happening in the city, not outside the city. So it's just a way turning around. So not outside, but inside the city again. Second one. So mid-80s, the start of the urban renewal, and in the Haarlemmerdijk were a lot of private owners. And in that time, because of the bad situation about the housing, the local government was working in a big company, not with all the things now you have in the southeast or in the Pijp or things like that with local, but just the big local government. And they were thinking about how can we deal with the city. They're making really good plans. And the thing was, you had an organization called Grondbedrijf. I just don't know what the name in English is. So maybe somebody can translate it. No.
Somebody?
No. Well, it was just to explain the local government was buying the owners out and taking the houses. And they keep it just till they had a lot of them and they could renewal a lot of houses together. So what you saw at that time, also in Haarlemmerdijk, in waiting time when they buy the owners out and for things you can do, so the houses were empty and the shops were empty and a lot of things. So if you came around in that time in the neighborhood, it looks like if you were in a war zone. So I hope you can imagine what it is. And I thought it was really a shame to go like that with the city. Because what we have now, everybody knows what's happening in other cities with shops are getting empty and things like that. Now we are thinking about how can we deal with it. So we try to get some starters and put them in the empty shops. In that time, in the mid-80s, it was my work to do exactly the same thing. So open the shops till they tie them down or renew them. So we give a chance to
new shopkeepers, young shopkeepers with new concepts, how they can deal. Does anybody know the Haarlemmerbuurt? There's still somebody, and now he has a really great shop, the oil and vinegar shop from maybe. He was a starter at that time. He just came to me and said well, I'm selling oil and vinegar, what do you think? I said, well, go on, we try it. So we did a little bit trying about that. Well, my background is, I studied social science, and I was working in neighborhoods, not in Amsterdam, but in Rotterdam. And I was working with residents, not with shopkeepers. And a study mate of mine, she was working in a work group in that time, and she couldn't deal with shopkeepers. She found it really difficult. They are difficult. He's next to me. They just want to have their own shop. And yeah, he knows it. I'm on and yeah, she's on your side. I'm on my own. Well, she told me if I wanted to do that. In that time, I was moving to the Haarlemmerplein, so I was living there. 15 years I lived in that neighborhood, and I really loved the neighborhood. It was really good vibe. Besides all the things what happening there, the squatters, the junks, the empty shops and things like that. It was really good vibe in the neighborhood. I had squatters who had shops, and it was really quite nice there. Really. I had negotiations with the squatters. Don't go in there. Let me do it. Go away. Go in another neighborhood and things like that. So it was really heavy work there. And there were also shopkeepers who had an own shop, and it was a property, and they were really thinking about the future because it was a pension. And if all the shops were going down, what was happening with the pension? They had worked for nothing. So they were trying, what can we do to keep this neighborhood a little bit better? Well, I was working from Rotterdam, I was coming to Amsterdam, and I was working in an area in Amsterdam, in the whole of Amsterdam. It calls, no, well, it doesn't matter. I was working for the government, the Chamber of Commerce and Economical Affairs. So it was arranging how to deal and how can we deal with shopping street or shopkeepers or things like that. So I knew Amsterdam, and I saw a lot of shops everywhere, really nice shops, but in the wrong neighborhood. So I tried to persuade them, come to the Haarlemmerbuurt. And they were really, because the name of the neighborhood was not really quite well. It was not in the mainstream, because you have the central station and then you go to the mainstream. If you go to the Haarlemmerbuurt, you have to find out where it is. You lost your way. And the situation was not really bad, and they were saying, no, I don't want it. It's a heavy neighborhood. I said, well, we try it. And the rent is not really high, so please come. And that is the surviving of the street nowadays. Because nowadays we just have the unique shops. We also have chain shops, you need them, because people need to do their daily shoppings. And we have the special ones, so you can't find them anywhere else in Amsterdam. Because before that, I was calling the chains, and they said, no, we don't want to be in the neighborhood. After all, I think, well, I'm glad you didn't. So it gave us more time to do things with that special shops. I worked for 15 years as a volunteer there. I had a job, and all my spare time I spent it in the neighborhood. I also worked as a civil servant in two neighborhoods in Westpark and in Bosselommer. But working as a civil servant, it makes me really nervous. I couldn't work with it because you have to deal with your, wat is een wethouder in het Engels?
Lawkeeper.
A lawkeeper, yeah, you can say that, yeah. And you see also the political situation is, you have your political situation for 4 years, so it's really short term. And you know everybody has to find that thing and say, that's what I've done, so you can show it to children or grandchildren, that's what I did. And you have to do what they want. And I'm really, wat zeg je, een eigenwijs?
Stubborn.
Stubborn.
Everyone knows that word.
Yeah. And I thought you can do more because for me, no as an answer is no deal. If you want, you can do everything. If you want it, really want it, you have to work on it. And that's the way I thought, well, I'm going to start my own company and work for my own. And I think if I find the right people and the right things, you can do so many things and you make it really joyful. So I was starting with my own company at that time. Okay, the position. Well, it was a low neighborhood, and now you can see we have social housing. We have all kind of shops you can find from the lower with people with less money, but we also have the good shops for people with a lot of money, and that's really a good combination. So you have the elderly people, you have the families, you have students, and all kind of things. So everybody finds something of his thing to do there. We also have a lot of cultures in the shopkeepers. I think we have the whole world in that street. That's really nice. You can eat really great there. You can have your drinks, your coffee. And what you see is that you have the American bakery next to the Two for Joys. It's really the hipster. And some people are saying, oh, that's really a bad thing to do. No, it's really great, because if Two for Joy is really crowded, they go to the other bakery and drink there the coffee and things like that. And the shopkeepers know each other, so they deal with each other. So that's really nice to do. Sorry? Oh, yeah, you can ask if you want it. Yeah. You also have the cafes. They really are for people who are just thinking, well, who am I? And really, yeah, he also had the centers. Who am I? And we also have really the higher things. So that makes the neighborhood really great to do. And working with that, so it gives you really a good feeling. But it's not only dealing about do your daily shopping or your shoppings or go eating, but it's the whole neighborhood. So we have really good things there. If you don't like the shopping, you can walking. And you can just imagine how it was in former days. We have so many monuments to look at, so it really looks great. We didn't believe in that time, because Economical Affairs in 1995, they make a report and they were saying, no, it's not going to work anymore. We don't believe in it anymore. So their thing was, we have two supermarkets on both sides, and just a Zeeman. That was the only thing we could think about. They didn't believe anymore in the streets. So they were just saying, every shop what's empty is coming empty, we make a house of that. So we couldn't believe it, so we just worked the other way around, just to let them see, if you're working really hard and you believe in it, you can do it, if you want it. And it's not only thinking about money or things like that. And they were really surprised we could do it. And now the same people from that department are saying, look what we have done. I said, well, look at your report in 1995. Well, everybody wants to do something there. Okay. Well, we started really with nothing. We had no money. We get 5,000 guilders in that time for a whole year to do everything with it. So, what could you do with 5,000 guilders? Well, we make signs, we work together, we ask people to work with us, art people to make things like that. So, that's the thing we did. It's not my work on my own, but it's everybody's work. So everybody feels by themselves responsible for the neighborhood. We also now have a location where we have homeless people. And when they started 10 years ago in a shop there, people in the neighborhood, they were really looking at, oh no, we don't want to do it. No, they are just, it's really bad. Now, they get no subsidy anymore, so they have to deal on their own. And now everybody's saying, no, they have to stay here, they are part of the neighborhood. So we try to work with them, so it's really great to see what you can do if you're working and make the contact with everybody in the neighborhood there. Now, what we see, we are just on a crossing point. Because if you see, if neighborhoods are really lovely, the local government has nothing to do, social housing, it's really on another situation. So everything is about money nowadays. And what you see now, everybody knows the situation in 9 streets. You get really the high shops, and it worries me. Because now we see the owners, housing companies are selling. Everybody who's living in social housing and is leaving his house, houses are still to be sold. So it's only about money nowadays. And for me, in my work, it's really hard working with them to persuade them. Just keep an eye on the neighborhoods. We didn't work all those years for nothing, only to get you for the money. I make them rich, really rich. But I want something back from them. So I phone them always. I have somebody who wants in your shop, but the rent is really too high. Can we lower the rent? And I persuade them really hard times. And they really find me such an annoying lady. Somebody told me, you're just like a pit bull, a dog. You don't leave us alone. And they think it's really funny to do things like that. I say, well, I want the best for this, not for me, but for the whole street, but also for you on the long term. But because if we don't watch it, we see we lose it. We lose the neighborhoods. And I think that's really a bad situation. So I try to persuade the shopkeepers, but all kind of people, to advise them not to go in a shop with too high rent. Leave it that way, or otherwise leave it and don't do anything there. So maybe then we can see what the owners do or not doing. So in a nutshell, that's my work. Now we see what's going on, and I hope we can do it for longer term. I hope I can persuade younger people to come on and take my work over, because I'm really older and it's just such hard working, but if you want it. So I work with a lot of students and try to make projects with them so they know what it is. Streets don't grow by themselves. You have to look after it, and that's really important, also with your neighborhood. Okay.